sure your team is excited to face off against someone else here and just get the chance to lock bodies, hit other players. But ultimately, how did you feel like everything gelled today with getting everyone dressed and just trying to find a rhythm out there?
I don't know if we found any rhythm. The 16 forwards, it's tough. The 8, but that's not an excuse. They dress extra too often, and I can take that. And one of the things, thank you, that then the penalties, right? Like how undisciplined were we? It was terrible. Penalty. I don't know what we're doing. You're not gonna win any games playing like that. It's one thing if you take hard action penalties and you're in there, right? But some of the penalties we took, we shot our own self in the foot, right? So, like I told our guys, we win or we learn, and we're gonna have to learn, and it's pretty easy. We just got punched in the mouth there, right? So now we got to respond, and we got to, get ready to go Monday, and now it counts. So there's no more freebies. Everyone had a chance the last 6 weeks to show us what they can do, why they need to be a reason or fixture in the lineup, and now we got to put our best lineup forward and go into a very good team in Niagara again on the road. So again, we'll be fine. We'll watch lots of film off it, and like I said, they had a couple fluky goals there right off it. I felt bad for Steinman going in there, but we didn't generate one goal. You're not going to win any hockey game scoring one goal out there. So as much as we can sit there and say that second period, well, at the end of the day, I always say if you don't score at least 3 goals, you're not really giving yourself a chance. And we scored 1, and we didn't capitalize on power play. So yeah, that's the way it goes.
It was just 38 seconds in between the 2 goals that really built their lead there. Did you see anything kind of falter in that short spurt that allowed them to build a 1-3 goal lead?
Nothing they did. More what we didn't do. Right, one was a real fluke. The one there that kind of think went in off. I forget. It was hard to see even on the video, but the other one was just a young freshman defenseman hanging on the puck too long, so just moving into his partner. So again, when you start to get some freshmen in the lineup, playing minutes and having to understand about playing about bigger, stronger, faster guys, you got to just move that puck a little quicker, off it. And like I said, it's not a. That's why we have the exhibition game. I'd probably be a lot more upset if that counted. Off it. But right now we're just gonna, we're gonna go. Our guys are mad, and they should be mad. They care, all right, and they want to come out and put out a better performance. We wanted to put a better performance out there, but at the end of the day, it's all about us retaining some actual video now that we can learn from and correct.
The results didn't show up. They got a 4-minute spurt in the third period, just under 7 minutes left, where you pull Palmer and ultimately held the puck for a lot of the time, and we're on the power play there. What was your assessment of that? Where didn't maybe score, but ultimately did a lot of good things.
Yeah, a lot of perimeter. We haven't worked on 6-on-5, so I'm kind of in the mindset if we only scored 1 goal in 54 minutes, we better get an extra attacker out there right off it. And if you lose 5-1, 6-1, 7, 12-1, who cares? You didn't win the hockey game. So, obviously we were able to have some looks. Our goalie played really well, I thought. He made some pretty big saves there at times. But, yeah, we got to get a better job getting to the inside. And this is what a lot of the video will be. We were able to, have good puck possession in the offensive zone, but we weren't penetrating inside the dots. And anybody can defend, and any team offensively can sit outside, but are you courageous enough to get inside and get to the net front and take cross checks and take slashes, and if you do that, you're going to be rewarded. Think of a goal we scored off the face-off. That was a nice face-off goal, but Scotty came right around and rebound right in the slot. Other guys should watch that. So.
And how did you see the rotation of goalies? Everyone got in today. Palmer, Steinman, Cole. How did they all fare?
Well, it's hard. What they had 14 shots on net. So there wasn't. We didn't do much better at 19. So it was probably a pretty boring hockey game, unfortunately. Normally this time of year you have more odd man rushes, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, and shots are like 50 to 40. You leave the goalies hanging out to dry. But today was kind of more of a ping pong match. There wasn't a lot happening. It was just kind of back and forth. And I call it with our guys playing a little bit of whack-a-mole. That game, like that's what we were doing. So, but again, it's all good.
So 15 shots, 4 goals. Then, Coach, did you learn anything about your goalies? I mean, where do you go from here? Everybody had their chances today.
No, I didn't. Like I said, if you look through it, they and I got to go look at the shots. It says 4-6-4, right? And like I said, I thought, the goalies played fine. Like I said, I know Steiny there probably wants a couple back off him, and like that's tough to get thrown in there, quick and especially you said those 2 right back to back right off it, but he just has to park it. It's not the end of the world, Like I said, exhibition is one thing we look at is this game, but we've also looked at a book for 6 weeks. What guys are doing day in and day out. We break down every practice, shots on net, like we do, quite in depth detail on every goalie. So, but I'm sure they all wanted to leave that, for that 20 minutes doing their part, but that sometimes happens.
15, 20 shots. I know you like to be shot heavy as well. Certainly wasn't the case today. What's it take in order to put some pressure on the goalie?
Yeah, probably a little more buy-in, understanding that we're not going to be able to score highlight reel goals every game. I think it was a little bit of, it was humbling, right? And now, no knock on them. Like if you saw when our goalies pulled, like their guys were diving, blocking pucks, like they were playing desperate hockey to win, and they deserved it. Like they played. We need to play a little more like that. We got to have a little bit more of a blue collar mindset to our game. We came out there, I think, thinking we were going to put the skates on and be able to go up and down the ice. So, right now we're down 1-0, in the kind of the first round of a battle, but at the same time, like I've said all along, we knew coming into this game if we won the game 10-0, I wouldn't be happy either, because now we'd have to be like trying to figure out the other side of it, right? So again, we can only get better. That's a good thing, So we didn't set the bar too high tonight.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Dalton, from your perspective, leading this team from a leadership point of view, how do you feel like things transpired? I know ultimately they get the goal late in the first period. How did that kind of shape what you guys wanted to do the rest of the way when they had that lead?
Yeah, I mean, I think to start it was just too many penalties. Penalties that we can't afford to take in the regular season, and something that Willie addressed and something that we need to get better at, and understanding that when a guy's back's turned, you can't hit him. And it's never easy starting behind the 8 ball. I thought our second period was better, but by that time it's a little bit too late. We got to find our legs earlier.
You guys dropped behind 2-0 in the game. But Tanner, you were in a good spot there in the second period, trying to cut into the lead. What did you see as that play developed that ultimately ended up in your goal today?
Yeah, I saw obviously the pucks kind of came out to me, and I passed back to the D, and I kind of tried to find the soft area, and Goose put a good shot on it and came right to me. Yeah, I put it in, but yeah, I mean, it was just a good, simple play. I think those are one of the keys to success for us, and yeah, I think we need maybe more of those.
What was your first experience like? It wasn't exactly 100% a full house today, but what was it like just to get inside and play here in front of the home fans at the Slate for the first time?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, like the first period, I think all of us probably had some jitters. As soon as you get the puck, kind of it's just like you want to get it off because you're just a little touchy and nervous. But I felt like it was really fun out there. Obviously, wanted a better result, but I love it here, and I think everyone else does too. So, yeah.
Dalton, in terms of the puck movement, we saw some of the power plays didn't end up in goals, but how'd you feel like positioning-wise, puck movement, how was the power play working tonight?
It was pretty good. I think we got some stuff to work on. Obviously we have a lot of new faces, and that's going to take time, camaraderie, and get to know each other and figuring each other out. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's got to be gritty. They're not all going to be nice goals, so we got to figure out a way to get to the net, a way to put some home. And I thought we had too many opportunities tonight to not be able to capitalize on at least one of them.
Everyone dressed tonight, but defensively, how'd you feel like the communication was on the backside for you guys today?
It was good for the first game, especially having a lot of newcomers and new faces. And I think on the defensive side of things, it's definitely going to take some time. Like I said, we have a lot of new faces, and tonight was a good start, but a couple bad bounces and a couple positional things, but we'll be better next weekend.
Follow up on that, Dalton. You had a full bench, 21 guys on the bench trying to find a place to sit there. How do you get any continuity, I mean, you're trying to figure out who's in, who's out. Talk about what you guys are going through right now and trying to get the lines put together.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you dress everyone, it's a little bit tough, but, Willie harps on no excuses, It doesn't matter if we have 8D or 10D or 15 forwards, 12 forwards, 20 forwards. I think you just got to find a way to do your best when you're out there and make sure that your legs are going. And, obviously it's a little bit difficult, but we wanted to make sure we got everyone a game in, and then obviously next weekend we kick things off. So
Coach talks about being shot heavy. He loves to be shot heavy. Wasn't really the case tonight. Not able to get a lot of shots on net today, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we just got to do a better job getting to the goalie and putting pucks to the net. I think, before the game we talked about shot volume and making sure we had a lot of shots, and plain and simple, we just didn't do a good enough job of that tonight.